Welcome to Networking Working, the podcast where real business stories meet meaningful connections. Brought to you by Business Matching UK, the UK's first business matching membership service with a business opportunity guarantee. Whether you're building something new, scaling something established, or just exploring smarter ways to move your business forward, you are in the right place.
Welcome back to Networking Working, the BMUK podcast. In this episode, we're joined by Andrew Ball of Thrive Together, a company dedicated to helping individuals and organisations achieve their potential through coaching, training and consultancy. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Let's dive straight in. What does your business do and who do you help?
So Thrive Together Training and Coaching helps organisations to build resilient, connected teams through practical wellbeing, through communication, through leadership programmes. We support HR professionals, managers and staff with tools to improve mental health awareness, emotional intelligence, workplace culture. Essentially, we help organisations that care about their people. Wellbeing can actually boost performance and retention. So when organisations offer mental health resources, 52% of employees feel more engaged and productive. Companies with a strong wellbeing culture see a 20% increase in employee retention, and 57% of UK organisations now have a standalone wellbeing strategy. That's up from 44% in 2020, showing that it's becoming a real business priority. But we don't just leave it and start delivering training. I want to know what they're doing already, what's working, what's not working, where do they want to be, what impact do they want their workplace wellbeing strategy to actually make. Only then can we start making a plan. We ask what training would be relevant, who else I can bring in, and what support I can actually give them with their strategy. We're also moving into the world of making training videos, which will really help to reach a mass audience for bigger businesses. They'll still come with questions to answer, a workbook to fill in, and certificates, but people can actually complete the workshop at a time that suits them. So if a business has got 1,000 people, that absolutely works for them.
How did you first get involved with BMUK and what drew you to the community?
I can honestly say what drew me to the community was Paul. I've known Paul since I started my business. Paul was one of the first people I met. He rang me, talked to me about football for a bit, talked to me about Leeds United, told me how rubbish Newcastle were, but then told me about this new idea he had, which he thought was so different to everybody else. And my first instinct was, heard this one before. But I listened, as I always do. I trust Paul, so that made a difference to me. I do trust him. This wasn't a random person asking me to join. It was somebody who I already knew. I'd already built a bit of a connection with him. But what drew me to this was not just the opportunity to speak to other people, because quite often the people in the group might not fit for me directly, but it's who they know, and it's who I can build rapport with. And it was the flexibility. When I first spoke to Paul about this, and I believe I was one of the first ones he spoke to, I've seen a lot of flexibility in his model. I've seen a lot of responding to members. It wasn't just like all the others. It was something a little bit different. So I thought I'd give it a go. And plus for me, I like to pick and choose my network. I've left a lot of networking organisations because it just didn't fit. Networking for me is also, because I work from home, I'm the only person in my business, it can get lonely. So it's actually my social time as well. And that counts for a lot. I think not many people can say networking is their social time. That's my office time, if you like. So that's what took me, more than anything, Paul, but the flexibility is absolutely key for me.
How do you see BMUK supporting your future growth?
I think it needs to keep evolving. It needs to keep listening to members, what their needs are, and actually understand what's realistic and what sticks to BMUK's values. The values of the organisation are really important. And again, I've seen this with a lot of businesses. They try and please everybody and they end up not actually meeting their own business values. And they should come centre of things. So long as members' needs are meeting the values and ethos of BMUK, then I actually think the fact that it can keep evolving, it's not tied to a national model. It's tied to Paul Lawton and the network of trust he's got around him. That can then evolve and change. We've adapted meetings, we've asked members to present mini workshops, and that's great, and that's what needed. For future growth, I think the more opportunities come for me to grow, the more businesses come on board, the more it goes across the country, and we can meet people who can help grow the business. I'm working with Dickinson's Media, Adam Dickinson, and he's introducing me to other businesses in the community, to other people who he's working with. So that for me is somebody else who's out there speaking to people on my behalf. And that's how it can go.
How does networking within BMUK differ from other networking experiences you've had in the past?
A little bit of what I've just said about the versatility. There's a model, but then no, different people need different things. I could talk about his guarantee, but I actually think that's on us to take. That guarantee is a two-way thing. It's not something that I can just sit back and go, oh, well, he's guaranteed it, because that needs work and effort for me as well. They try new things and they actually listen and help us reach our goals. Where I've seen it differs, I've seen networking experiences where they just hire a room, put people in a room together, and you just get on with it. That, when I first started in business, was so daunting because you see little cliques, you see little mini networks, and you feel really uncomfortable breaking them if you don't know anybody. For a new business, I think that's really tough. And then secondly, what's it really achieving? Nice coffee, if there's nice coffee, there's often not. Maybe a biscuit, a couple of hours out the office, but what are they really achieving? And that's what I've seen a lot. And I'm all for really looking at the impact of something, really looking at the difference that things can make. Other people have their own goals, but are they necessarily the goals of the members that they take money from? This is what makes BMUK different.
This episode of Networking Working is brought to you by Business Matching UK, the UK's first business matching membership service with a business opportunity guarantee. If you're tired of turning up to networking events that lead nowhere, BMUK guarantees to offer something different. Structured, supported, and strategically driven business development, designed to connect the right people in the right way at the right time. With a blend of face-to-face and online meetings, plus 7 unique mechanisms, BMUK guarantees real business opportunities, and that guarantee is the cornerstone of what makes us different. Stop chasing leads and referrals. Start matching with meaningful opportunities. Register your interest today at www.business-matching.co.uk. Business Matching UK. Matching ambition with opportunity.
Who are you looking to hear from, Andrew?
I always find this question really difficult because the reality is that any business with employees that are keen to look after the well-being of the staff, who I want to hear from. I've worked with such a wide range of businesses, from construction companies to retail to manufacturing to small shops, window fitters. If a business is experiencing sickness records due to mental health, or even just sickness records, because in general, people will not say it's mental health. People will not say it's their own well-being. Then we've got a starting point and we've got a target to work with. So it's very difficult to say with a specific, this organisation or this sector. We know the workplace wellbeing is critical in the UK because poor mental health is now one of the biggest drivers of sickness absence, lost productivity, presenteeism, economic costs, and the numbers are rising sharply. I mean, sickness absence is now at record highs with 9.4 sick days per year, the highest over a decade. And mental ill health is the leading cause of long-term absence, cited by 41% of organisations. In terms of cost, the numbers are out there. Poor mental health and well-being is costing the UK 42 to 45 billion pound in the UK each year. That number is so high, it's unreal. It's so high that we can't even comprehend. There's calculations out there that people can do. So if a business has 100 people, if they know their turnover, they know their sickness numbers and the exact amount of labour employees, they can work out exactly how much poor mental health is costing their organisation. So I'd urge any business to look at how much poor mental health is costing their business. On the other hand, for every £1 spent on workplace wellbeing, an organisation can expect to get £5 in return. We can deliver mental health first aid, which is the central point. But mental health first aid alone will not solve a business's problems. Mental health first aid will help an organisation manage mental health within the workplace, but only when it's involved in a strategy, only when there's risk assessment involved. If 50 employees over the month are speaking to a mental health first aid because of a certain issue, that means somebody is getting support. That doesn't eradicate the issue. What's the risk that we need to eradicate? How do we do that? So is it through more knowledge about mental health, making it less of a stigma? Is it about having resources in place? Is it about teaching people 5-minute fixes for their well-being, that they can go and have a sit down for 5 minutes every hour, because that's what makes them work the best and not get called a skiver? There's so many stats around this. 35% of employees have experienced stigma or discrimination due to mental health. That's appalling. That's lack of knowledge. That's real lack of knowledge. The stats are huge. 47% say open dialogue would significantly improve their well-being. That's getting mental health talked about. And people understanding that we all have mental health. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. People see mental health and well-being as this woke topic. It's so not. Everybody has mental health.
How can people find you and your company, Andrew?
We've got the website. We've got www.thrive-together.co.uk. You can send me an email on andrew@thrive-together.co.uk. I'm on LinkedIn, and we've got the company page on LinkedIn. I've got a stand at the North East Expo this year. I'll be showing people different elements of the workshop videos, different elements of training, and how we're adapting and how we're helping people. And if somebody just wants a 30 to 60-minute chat with no pressure, I've had 25 years in the voluntary sector. I've been doing project management for homeless young people, dementia, been a primary school teacher. I ain't a salesman. You're not going to get me hammering you for 30 minutes trying to do sales. That's the voluntary sector for you. But if you want 30 to 60 minutes to chat through what you want to achieve, what you're doing now around workplace wellbeing, what you think you need in terms of wanting to move forward, and if I'm a fit, I'll say. If I don't think I'm a fit, I'll say. But if I'm not a fit, then I can look at somebody who will be a fit. Mental health first aid is not for everybody, but it's for a lot of organisations. Some organisations it doesn't work for, but there'll be another thing that will work for them. We can adapt training. We can look at doing it bespoke, and we talk about stigma. There's a massive stigma about drink drivers. I've delivered the drink drive rehabilitation course for the last 3 years. When I started delivering it, who I thought was going to be the stereotypical client in there, I was wrong. Look, I'm absolutely not condoning drink driving. There is people who go and deliberately drink drive. There is. We see them every single week. People have a stereotype of somebody who's got an issue with alcohol, don't they? And they have a vision in their head of what they look like. I can tell you, I know many people who have issues with alcohol, and they look like me and you. I would say 40% of people don't understand the law, how long it takes alcohol to leave the system, got caught the next day. It's when people don't understand it, people fall foul of it. Companies are losing employees who are drivers. They take you engineers, your joiners who now lose businesses. Somebody might have an issue with alcohol that's caused by stress, it's caused by work. It could be because of poor mental health. It could be because somebody's escaping domestic abuse. We see it a lot on courses. We see it an awful lot. It's 100% a vicious cycle. It still comes down to workplace wellbeing. I've wrote a 1 or 3 hour workshop on drink and drug drive awareness that goes through the law, that explains the law in detail with people, that explains exactly what the NHS says about how to count your units and count down how many hours until you are alcohol free. But it also goes through the impact on people who've lost touch with their families, who've lost their jobs, who've then lost their houses because they couldn't pay the mortgage, because they don't understand the law. And in a lot of cases, not actually being in the car when they've been caught. Now they've got a criminal conviction. If you can give your team the knowledge of how to stay this side of the law, you're going to improve their well-being because they'll still have a job. But that's why we need to look at workplace well-being. That's why we need to pick up those cues within the workplace that might help somebody before they break the law, before they do things which they wouldn't normally do. It's recognising those signs and getting support is absolutely key to this. And that's what we're there to do.
If BMUK were a single tool in your desert island survival kit, what would that tool be and why?
So I've thought long and hard about this. And with it being a survival kit, that means that I either want to stay alive or escape and get away. So my single tool would be Paul's voice. Because if Paul's voice was there, I'd soon be heard. Somebody will hear me and be able to come and rescue me. So my survival kit would be Paul's voice.
Is that survive Paul or survive the desert island?
Survive the desert island. I don't want Paul there. I just want his voice.
Just his voice.
Just his voice that I could press a button and his voice could bellow.
Amazing. Andrew, there's so much incredible work you're doing through Thrive Together. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, experiences, and the ways BMUK has supported your journey.
Thank you very much.
If today's episode gave you fresh insight, a practical takeaway, or simply something to think about, hit follow, leave us a rating or review, and share the episode with someone else navigating the same landscape. Networking Working is powered by Business Matching UK, a movement changing the way businesses connect, collaborate, and grow. If you're ready to take a more strategic, supported approach to your business development, one that's built on strategy, not chance, then BMUK is what you didn't know you needed. Visit www.business-matching.co.uk to explore more and register your interest.
If anything discussed in this episode has raised difficult feelings for you, please know you're not alone. Support is available via Hub of Hope at www.hubofhope.co.uk.
The information in this podcast is for general guidance and entertainment purposes only. The Networking Working podcast shares ideas and experiences to inspire and inform, and we believe they can be valuable, but they may only reflect part of your own business journey. We always recommend seeking independent advice and using your own judgment to decide what's right for your business. We encourage you to do your own research before making any decisions. The opinions in this episode are our own and those of our guests, and we do our best to ensure the content is accurate and relevant at the time of recording. If you have any questions or would like to continue the conversation, you can reach us at info@business-matching.co.uk. Thank you for listening.